Hi, welcome. This is the weekly anti-hustle business training in my Facebook group, Reclaim Your Wild. And it's going to go up on YouTube, and we share this in the newsletter as well. So if you're wondering why I say this on Mondays, but it's every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. European. This is like a Central European Standard Time, I think it is, CEST. But welcome, and let me know if you are live or if you're watching the replay, and I can keep an eye out for the comments and answer any questions that you might have. So I want to talk about this because this is something that completely changed my business, my life, right? Like when you make more money, you change it, like it just changes everything. And there's lots of conversations around payment plans and what you should and shouldn't do. There's a lot of don't do this, but it's based out of scarcity. And so we don't do that over here in this neck of the woods. I'm an anti-hustle business coach, and I teach my clients how to run more inclusive and equitable businesses that don't burn them out, where they can serve lots of people in lots of different ways. I teach them how to really nail their messaging for the different programs that they're offering. And one of the things that we talk about, and I'm here to talk about the mastermind as well, because we're in the launch for the mastermind. So one thing that we talk about in the mastermind is money, wealth, raising your rates, getting paid for what your time and expertise and experience is worth. You learn how to price your programs based on not just intuitively, but also strategically. There's things to consider when you're pricing your program. And part of pricing your program, right, is figuring out who it's for, what's going on in the market, and really taking into consideration the demographic that you are trying to attract, and what the payment plan options need to be in order to attract the people for that specific program, and then making sure that you're getting paid, right? That you're like making the money that you want to be making. So I'm just going to announce now. Come join us. Okay. So today I want to talk about why having payment plans will allow you to really create a more ethical and sustainable business model. We'll talk about, and you'll get an understanding of how stacking payment plans will help you hit your income goals faster. And then a huge myth we're fed about payment plans and why this is costing you money. So some of the reasons why having a payment plan is going to allow you to create a more ethical and sustainable business model is that just you're able to serve more people. When you create multiple ways to get paid for the same program, you are just making your services more accessible, right? So you're able to meet your community more where they are. So this could be for literally any of your programs, for your one-on-one, for if you have a mastermind or like a group program, if you have a larger group program, this could be, you could do this for literally everything. And you get to make the rules in your business. So I really want to emphasize that. I will also say that just because you're offering maybe more extended payment plans for this round, like if it's a brand new program and you want to get people in, and so you're willing to have maybe like a longer, like an extended payment plan just to get people in and like get some momentum, you'll get testimonials, right? So just because you're offering a payment plan that's maybe longer than you would ideally have for this round, it doesn't mean that you have to do that for every single round. You can play around with different payment plans. You can play around and see what people tend to go after. You can, really base it. You can have payment plans. And then, so like, for example, I know I'm kind of skipping around here. It's just my brain. One year I launched it's called Anti-Hustle Business School now, but when I was launching this, it was called Business Unleashed. And it was 12, now it's a 16-week program, right? So it was right when I relaunched my coaching business, and it was February 2020 in that time. And there were lots of people who were interested in it, but they said that because of what was going on in the world, they were nervous about investing, right? Like that much money, but they really wanted to be in the program. So I offered, I don't know, I think I offered like a 9-month payment plan. 5 people signed up the next day. So there's this like line between like, it's the money, it isn't about the money, like what else? And so, I did my mindset work, and we just want to be cognizant of like, sometimes it is about the money. And so if we can offer an extended payment plan that allows people to still step into that next level of investment for them, right? So this also just depends on where your demographic is for that program, right? So like, just because you might be spending thousands of dollars a month on coaching, if you're targeting newer people to the industry, they're not quite sure what coaching is. So this is like a business program. Kevin wants to come say hi. This is a business program, right? So it is brand new coaches who don't have businesses yet. So this money's coming probably not from their coaching business. They have a very different mindset than my one-on-one clients, right? My one-on-one clients back then, I think it was like, I don't know, $1,000 a month to coach with me. So a couple hundred to 1,000. So that's a very different mindset. It's a very different buyer. So this is what I'm talking about, of you have to be speaking to the person that is designed for this program. And then you also need to be considering the price point and where they are. Now, I will say this, sometimes you price things the way exactly why you price them, because you are specifically attracting a different kind of client. So example, for my one-on-one, I don't have extended payment plans. It's $3,000 a month, $2,500 a month. And the mastermind, I have offered extended payment plans. It's not something that I'm offering this round, because I want to have people who are in a different level of business, right? And so it's on purpose. Now, my other programs that I've created I have like a 12-month payment plan at this point, and then what happens is they join these programs multiple times to get their business, to get that traction, right? Then to get ready to move into the mastermind. So sometimes we're pricing things very strategically and not having extended payment plans. And then other times, depending on the program, you can have those extended payment plans because you are able to serve more people and just meet them with where they are and with what's going on in their life. So having these extended payment plans, it really allows people to get to know you. So sometimes they might be interested in your higher level offer, but they want to be in a group program. They want to watch how you operate. This isn't really a great opportunity to build trust with your community and to really show them what you got, right? Like I want to know that I can trust them and that they can coach in a group setting, because they'll get coached, let's just say in business school, right? So it's a larger group. There's like 30 people or so. There's usually not that many people on the calls. But you're going to get coached by me. I'm going to call on you on the, if you raise your hand, I'm going to call on you. And so you'll get coached by me in front of other people. And so this is really a great way to just try people out and see, like, if you like their style, if you like how they do stuff. And so really this gives your community an opportunity to get to know you and just to really build that trust. This also, so from like an equity lens in your business and an inclusivity lens, it really creates more equity in your services and your pricing. And so, the work that I've done in my business with different diversity, equity, inclusion coaches and consultants, this is one of the things that we really worked on, to create more of a values aligned business model. My DEI coach, VP Wright, she is also the support coach in the mastermind, and she will also be doing a monthly office hours. So this is, and that's by design, because I wanted to have her in your businesses with me, so that ideally, if you're in this community and if you're joining my programs, this is something that you're concerned about and that you also want to have in your business. And so having her in the Facebook group and on the calls, on the office hours, you have an opportunity to work with her and to really start to see this from an equity lens and see how you can start applying this to your business. Maybe you're a bigger business and you already have your one-on-one, you have the different, levels of service. And so sometimes, and this is one thing that she and I worked on, we kind of dissected the different programs that I had to see where can we make this pricing more equitable? Where can we make this program more inclusive? And what does that look like? And so she is in the Facebook group and she will be your support coach, in terms of, there's 2 different pods. So everybody gets at least a one-on-one with her and with myself. If you're in the 6-figure pod, the expansion pod, you get 3 one-on-one calls with me and 3 with her, and you'll just switch every month. And then if you're in the pre-6 pod, which is if you're making 0 to 5K a month, you get 1 with me and 1 with her to be used throughout the 6 months. So you still have one-on-one support, you have group support. And this is the stuff that you will bring to the calls if you want to bring them to office hours or to your pod call, or if you want to go deeper into this on your one-on-one call, you can bring all of this. So when you have multiple programs where you have payment plans, this is where things really start to stack up. So I saw my business literally change overnight when I offered the extended payment plan for Anti-Hustle Business School, because I had one-on-one, and then I added in now this 9-month payment plan. So it was a little less money every month, but now I had predictable income for 9 months. What would change in your business if you had predictable income for 9 months? I'd love to hear in the comments if you're watching, or if you're watching the replay, what would change for you? Because this is how businesses can literally change overnight. This is how your money changes overnight. So when you create these different ways to work with you, and I will say, like, we want these payments to feel good to you. So I never want to encourage clients to offer extended payment plans where they're like, that just like doesn't feel good. Too bad. You have to have an equitable business. No, I want you to have a business that feels good, where you feel like this is generous. This feels good. I'm happy to have maybe a little bit less money, but consistency. And I don't know about you, like, yes, I love the big months where, it's flashy. It's fun to say like, oh, I made this much money. But what is more settling on your nervous system is when you can predict what's coming in and you know that you have a baseline of dollars. That is a game changer. When you're not freaking out about money, when you can expect to have income coming in on a recurring basis. And then what happens too is that so this is something to consider, like, as you start to scale your business and you start to incorporate different programs, right? So Biz School is a 4-month program. I have a 12-month payment plan. So 8 months, I've already done my work and I'm getting paid for 8 months. So it made business school and training accessible to people who are starting their businesses, who need help with their marketing, who need help with their messaging and getting hired by their first clients, right? And then one thing that I do for anybody who has joined Biz School or Ignite is that I have alumni pricing. So that's $299 for the entire fucking program, just to come back and just to be on the group calls and to get coaching around the things that we're talking about in the program, right? So this is also how I thank my former clients for coming back and working with me and saying yes again. And so, and because it feels really good, it feels really generous. And so that's something that you can start to think about too. And so as you start to build and grow your business, let's say you have your one-on-one and maybe you're adding in another program. And then maybe you're ready to add in like a third thing. Like, so maybe it's a workshop or a retreat, or maybe it's another group program. Now you have payments coming in, and then you're launching and running another program. So here's another set of payment plans. Boom, 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 right? That's how you really start to see a difference in your income just skyrocketing. Having a more accessible product suite also really sets you apart, and it gets people interested and they start to see what's possible. If they're like, oh, I could afford this, like I could have a coach, like I could have somebody. And so it really starts to open up possibilities for the people that you want to be serving in your community. I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah. So payment plans, so they also really, like I said, they help build trust and build long-term relationships with clients. And so you can really nurture the people who are in your community and support them through your product suite. So one thing that I do with all of my clients, and that we'll do especially in the mastermind, is when you're creating different programs and different offers, I want to make sure that you're creating programs that lead into one another. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, it leads into this one that's this more expensive and leads into this one, right? You could have multiple programs, like Biz School and Ignite are both $2,000 programs. And it's less, right? If you get in on early bird, and then if you're alumni, you get it for the $299, like I said. So like Biz School leads into, depending on if you're ready, into the mastermind. But if you're not ready for the mastermind, then typically I have Ignite coming right after the mastermind launch. I might be doing Biz School again. I'm trying to figure this out. So you might move into another $2,000 program, but you're still getting support around messaging, right? So if you go to Biz School and then you go to Ignite, you're getting help on your messaging, dialing in your program, learning how to sell online, learning how to show up consistently, sharing more of your story. So all of the programs work together and you're learning similar stuff. And so this is why having programs that lead into one another or that complement one another make a huge difference. You don't want to create a program that then just like drops people off. What's the next thing that you want them to do? So you always want to be thinking of this, and not to like overwhelm you, because you might not be in a place where you have like another program in mind, but pay attention. So if you are looking to build your product suite, pay attention to the questions that are asked during your programs. What are reoccurring, or like, are you answering the same thing over and over again? Are you realizing that maybe they didn't have information that you wish that they had? Great, create a program around it, create a workshop around it. You could do intensives around it. There's different ways that you can build this. And this is all stuff like, we'll figure out your product suite in the mastermind, but it's a slow burn, right? Like, we're not just going to like launch 5 different things in 1 year. So I really encourage all of my clients, and you, if you're not a client yet, to really be playing the long game, and really also understanding that like building your product suite takes time. because when you are launching something, you have to get the launch process down. And especially if it's brand new, so you don't have the content. So you have to be working on your mindset. You have to be creating brand new content, which means that your brain is working differently than if you've launched something multiple times and you have a content bank, and then you can ease up on, like, you can lift the pressure off of yourself. I've launched this mastermind, I don't know, like 6 or 7 times. I have 6 rounds of content in my content bank. I don't have to ever create any more content for this mastermind launch if I don't want to. Of course, I'm going to have more things to say. So I'm constantly building it, but there's not that pressure that you have if I were selling something brand spanking new. That means that, like, I have to come up with brand new shit every day, right? So that's something to consider. So plan on playing the long game. And if you are looking to build your product suite, but you don't have maybe some ideas, that's a really great way to start generating ideas and looking at, what are the questions that my one-on-one clients are asking? What are people consistently like, hey, do you sell this? Like, are there people asking for things? That's a good indication that that's desired in your community. So really start to think about this. And I'd love to, I don't see any comments, but I'm here to answer any of them. Let's see. Yeah, so pop your comments in the chat if you have any questions or if there's anything coming up for you. So I feel like I've already covered that. We've talked about understanding how stacking payment plans will help you hit your income goals faster. So one thing to think about, this is where you can kind of get into a pickle. And so I just want to share this just so you're aware. So one of the things that I used to do is offer extended payment plans for my one-on-one. I don't do that anymore for multiple reasons. And this goes for the mastermind too. The problem that you run into is if you have extended payment plans that go longer than the program, and it's a program where they would renew or could potentially renew, that's when you run into this pickle, right? So if it's a 6-month program and you have a 9-month payment plan, but they want to renew for another 6 months, now they're going to have double payments for 3 months. And the point of the extended payment plan is to not be paying a bunch of money every month, right? So this is where the pickle happens. So there's ways around it, right? You can tack it onto the payment and combine it and then have an extended payment plan. I can hear myself on my other speaker. Okay. You can offer a payout, which I offer a discount when I do that. Like, hey, let's get these payments taken care of. If you can get caught up by this date, we'll offer you a 15% discount. Then that way, when we start this new contract, you just have this new payment, right? So that's a way around it. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore, right? So you can, if you're looking to get hired and you're like, I just want to work, and the money piece is a problem, that's something that you can offer. I don't want you to say like, oh, well, Shannon doesn't do that, so I'm not going to do that. I have very much done that just so that I could get some money in the door and get hired, right? But you want to make sure that it feels good. You don't want to offer a payment plan that you feel taken advantage of, where you're like, yeah, I mean, I'll eventually get this money, but it's hard for me to show up for this much money every month. Like, I just feel like it's not like an energetic exchange, and it just like doesn't feel good to me. That is reason enough for me to not offer that. So we want to make sure that you are feeling supported by the payment plan that you're creating. One of the worst things that you could do is just like throw shit together like on the fly when you're on a sales call. So if you want to be doing this, I would have maybe something in your back pocket so that you're not trying to like, and I've done this before where I'm like fucking around on the calculator and because like math is not, I was a psych major. I specifically chose a major that had the least amount of math and I took like statistics and cheated. I had help in that class. So like the worst thing that you could do is just like, cause then you start fumbling around and then you get flustered and then you're going to mess up on numbers. And then pretty soon you're like, wait a minute, I quoted them this, but that like doesn't even make sense. And then you have to go back or backtrack or just honor what you did. I've seen this happen lots of times, right? So if you're open to an extended payment plan for your one-on-one, just so that you can get hired, have that in your back pocket. Know that that's an option. And then you can have this conversation with your community or with your, potential client, coach them through it, like see if you can get them and get underneath what the resistance is. And then you could say, I would really love to support you. And, I'm totally down to do, obviously use your language. You probably might not say I'm totally down. But I would say I'm totally down to do a bit of an extended payment plan. What if we were to spread these payments out instead of 6 months? What if we spread them out to maybe like 8 months? Would that ease the pressure up a little bit for you so that you can work with me? I would just be mindful that you don't get into this like, well, what about this? What about this? And then like, I'm going to have a counter that they might come with a counter offer. And so if you know that you're firm and that you won't accept anything less than like the 8 months or whatever it is, you could say, I've really thought this through and this is the number that I'm willing to offer you. So let's talk about it. If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good, but that's my boundary. And you're allowed to have that, right? I used to have the extended payment plans. Like I said, don't have anymore. So like, don't feel like you have to be a hard ass on this or because so-and-so did this, then you're going to do it. I really invite all of you, all of my clients to always check in with yourself. Does this feel good? Doesn't fucking matter if I've done it. Doesn't matter if I've never done it. Does it feel good? You might have a more creative way of doing this, right? So always, always, always check in with yourself. One of the things that has been, in the industry, maybe it's just because of the people that I surround myself with. But I have seen people in the past tack on, and I've done it in the past because this is what I was told to do. And then once I hired DEI consultants and learned why this is a harmful business practice, I stopped doing it. So usually, adding on some sort of fee for the extended payment plans is typical, right? I don't do this for mine. But there are some people who will add on, upwards of like 15, 20%. The point of a payment plan is to make this more accessible and more equitable, not to fucking try to get as much money out of you and like, it feels like a punishment, right? When you go and you look and there's like $1,000 added on to a payment plan. You're like, what the fuck? The reason I have a payment plan is because I can't fucking afford to join your program. Why are you charging me an extra $1,000? It just feels gross, right? So that is one thing that we talk about in the mastermind and VP definitely talks about, absolutely. It defeats the purpose. Now this is one thing that VP and I will talk about. She'll help you with this. it's fine and acceptable to add on like anywhere from like whatever the payment processor fee is. So PayPal, Stripe, they're all around like 3%. So if you want to add on like 3 to 5% because you are being charged by Stripe and PayPal every time the charge is made, right? And also, all of those fees are tax deductible and you will write that off at the end of the year. So you get it back. You don't have to add money, right? This is also the beauty of once you start making more money, little shit like this, it's like water off a duck's back. Like, it's like, well, I know that I'm just going to like deduct these fees and get them back at the end of the year anyway. And like, it's a write-off. So I don't need to charge more money. So feel into that. This is one of those undoing things. A lot of what I teach, excuse me, and a lot of the work that I do with my clients is undoing the harmful shit that they've been taught, unlearning the harmful marketing, the harmful business strategies, the stuff that doesn't feel good, but you don't know why, and you don't know what to do instead. That was really where I found myself. I'm like, this feels like fucking slimy. Like, I don't want to I don't want to do this to my clients, but it was like back in the day, it was all of the white coaches were preaching this. And then they were also saying, so here's the huge myth that I want to talk about is that don't have the payment plans go longer than your program. This is totally built on scarcity. I need to close this out. This was also something that I was fed, and I feel like people and coaches are more and more getting away from this, but you may have heard, and I'm curious to hear if you've heard this, if this is something that people are still teaching, because maybe it's just the circles that I hang out with. We don't do this anymore. And it's just coming from a place of, once the program's over, people aren't going to pay me. Once the program's over and it's delivered and I've showed up and coached them, people are going to default, they're going to change their credit card, they're whatever, right? And I'm not going to get paid for services rendered. I have been offering extended payment plans for the last 3 years like this in my business. I think out of I'd have to go and look at numbers, right? I don't know if I've had any complete the program and then not pay me. I have also like paid attention, right? Of like, sometimes the payments take longer to get. There's hardship. I think we're still like officially in the pandemic. People lost their jobs. Shit was sideways for a really long time. My priority is to always preserve the relationship with my clients and to work with them. So we'll do, like, if you need a $10 payment plan to fucking pay the thing off, right? Like, we'll do that because I expect my clients to have integrity. I expect my clients to hold up their end of the contract, especially if they've gone through the program, they've received all of the material, right? Then my expectation is that I get paid for the work that I've done. And that's just how we run the business over here. And there have been people that I have had to release from the program, or completed early, right? Because they weren't a good fit for lots of different reasons. But typically the people who finish and go through the program, they all end up paying. That doesn't mean that they all end up paying on the time, right? Like it might take them 16 months instead of 12 months. We've done little payments, right? And also they still follow through. So I had to set an energetic boundary and set an expectation with my business and with my community and with the universe, right? Like I'm not available for people to hire me who won't uphold their end of the contract. I do my job. I show up. I coach the shit out of my clients. You have the modules, like you have the portal, like you have all of these things, right? And so I uphold my end of the contract. And my expectation is that my clients respect me. They respect my time. They respect my knowledge, and they respect me enough to pay me. And that might look in different ways, right? But that is always my expectation. And I just have to trust that my clients are going to pay me. Now, if they don't, that's their karma, right? Like if they got the material, like we can lock them out of the portal. We can they can't access material, right? And like, if that's how they're running their business, good luck. If you're not paying your coaches, like if you're stealing their content, and like usually people who do that shit, like they don't do well in business. And so I just have to trust that things will shake out in the end, right? But it's not from a place of scarcity. So this is very much a myth. And I invite you, if this is something that you've been struggling with, of you're hearing this, or I don't know, like I said, like if people are still teaching this, but maybe this like doesn't feel good to like not offer this, and you're kind of like in the limbo. So I just really invite you to choose to trust your people. It's like going into a relationship and expecting it not to end well. Like, why would you even start the relationship? So like, I have to start the relationship expecting that my clients will pay me, expecting that they'll show up, expecting that if they have a problem with something, that we'll have a conversation about it. And this is in my contracts. That's another thing, is to like have this in your contracts of what happens if they default. My expectation for all of my clients is if they're not happy, that they let me know personally and that they give me enough time to implement the changes. So this isn't just like, oh, I fucking hate this program, I'm leaving. That's like not an equitable way, or like a respectful or integrous way to end a relationship, right? So my expectation and my ask for all of my clients is that if there's something that you don't like, maybe there's something going on the calls, or like you don't like how this is done, I need enough time to like make changes and implement things with my team. And so that's always an ask, instead of being like, oh, fuck this, like I'm just quitting. It's just an opportunity to get coached, right? So like if that's how you're handling this relationship, it means that that's probably how you're handling other relationships, which is a great thing to bring to a coaching call, because I will coach you around it. But if this is how you're treating me, the chances are this is how you're treating other people. Maybe it's how you're treating your clients, it's how you're treating your relationships. And until you work on this, this is going to keep showing up for you. So lots of things to discuss there. So do your mindset work around this and really like bake it into your consciousness that you're only available for people who have integrity and who pay you on time, that you trust your community to follow through with their commitments and their payment plans, that you trust that they'll show up and uphold their end of the contract. And so really start to bake this in, that that you get to have this, and that this is meant to serve your community, and that you will be rewarded and people will really appreciate it and love you. And it just builds that much more trust. So really do the mindset work around this if you come from the old school marketing like I do, like did. So in terms of like the technical and strategy piece, so you want to have a plan in place if and when payments fail. So what is the process that your team will take, that you will take? So you really want to have this in writing. You want to make sure that it's in your contract. What will this look like? And so if a payment fails, what we have in our contract is if the payment fails, we'll notify you. You have 72 hours to get it sorted. Maybe it's just because like it expired or it's overdrawn or whatever, right? And like just this, and this is also the work that you have to do to not get activated about a failed payment, to not immediately start to spiral and be like, my business is falling apart, or to be like, fuck this person. They're never, their stuff keeps failing, or see like what. And also one thing that I've seen is like one person ruins it for everybody. Don't be that. Don't do that. Right. Like that person ruined it for them, but like, don't get rid of extended payment plans because one fucking person didn't pay. You have all these other people who appreciate it. And right. Like I would have gotten rid of extended payment plans a long time ago if it was based on people not paying. And I know that like, that's my work with that person. So this is about holding yourself and not making business decisions from a place of activation or trigger because like money's going to bring up a lot of stuff for your clients and for you. And there's a lot of shame that comes up when payments fail, when they're overdrawn. Right. And so like learning how to hold yourself and get regulated before you reach out to them. Have a process like before your team reaches out. And this is why it's sometimes easier for team to handle this, right? Because like they don't fucking care. Like they're not attached to it. But when it's like my money and my numbers, right? Like I'm going to show up differently than my team member is going to. So have this in writing, have it in contract. 72 hours. If we don't get the payment sorted, you'll be locked out of the portal until we figure out what's going on. And then once that happens, you'll be added back in, right? What's the ask? The ask is that they stay in contact, that they might ask, and this is in the contracts now, that we have if it's inability to pay or they want to change the terms of the contract, like if they need an extended payment plan, that means that we're changing the terms of the contract. So my ask is that we have a face-to-face Zoom call, none of this fucking back and forth in the DMs. We are going to handle this like adults. And because there's so much loss, there's so much nuance loss, right? It's an opportunity for coaching usually because there's lots of shame coming up. So that's the ask. Get on a fucking phone call with me. It's in the contract. It says that this is what is the expectation. What are the next steps? So really have this spelled out. You can even talk about this when you're setting the container of the program. So on the first call, if it's a group program or if you're starting a new one-on-one container or whatever, like talk about this. The worst thing that you could do is have this be secretive or not have this, like, so when it's a surprise that there's like a buyout clause, right? Something to talk about. So check in with them, ask them what's going on, and really have a human first approach. People are having difficulties with finances. The world is on fucking fire. There's lots of stuff going on, right? So really understand and like, don't take it. It's not personal. Can you just imagine like the shame spiral that they're probably going down? And just like, don't assume that they're out to get you or that, oh, I should never have done this. Like, right. Like just assume assume fucking nothing before you can't assume anything. Assume that it has nothing to do with you. That you can assume that this has nothing to do with me. This is their money stuff. I'm going to do my work. So if you need to swamp or clear or get regulated or whatever you need to do to get out of your fucking feelings, maybe that means don't respond for 24 hours. Do not respond from an activated place. Over and over and over again, I will always tell you this, and all my clients, do not respond. Do not make business decisions from an activated, dysregulated place. That is not when you want to be doing things. So let the message sit, give it 24 hours. You can even say, I received this. I will respond tomorrow, whatever. Okay. But have a plan in place so that you and your team are all on the same page. Put it in your SOPs. If you don't know what that is, it's standard operating procedure. It's a document so that this is like how we handle this in the business. So that is really all I have. I always talk much longer than I anticipate. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. I don't feel aligned with payment plans either, and I'm reconsidering. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So this is, again, like you get to run your business. Amanda had said, I don't feel aligned with payment plans and I'm reconsidering my pricing in general. So this is something that you get to play with, right? So like some people don't want to have payment plans. They do want to be paid upfront, or maybe like if you are doing, like if you're doing individual sessions, let's say, like if you're a therapist and you're not selling packages, so maybe the ask is that the payment comes in before the session, and if the payment's not in before the session, then I'll cancel the session, right? Or having them pay up front. So this is oh, I was like, okay, Amanda, like maybe you just have them all pay in full. Good. Excellent. She said, okay, thank you for clarifying. I do like payment plans, but not charging extra. Great. I haven't heard it being taught, but I see people still doing it. Carol says, yes, I've totally heard this. In fact, it has always been, it's not a sale without getting that money right at the end of the sales call. It's always been a conflict, and now not doing it that way has felt stressful, but it sure as hell feels better and stronger to let a person have some sense of control in the process too. Excellent. Yes. Yeah. And so here's the thing with deconditioning and relearning how to do stuff is like, some of this is going to feel really uncomfortable because you've been doing it, right? Like when you're doing something new, it feels really uncomfortable at first. And doesn't mean that it's not right. It doesn't mean that it's like not still a good choice. I feel like Carol, that's a perfect example because Carol is in anti-hustle business school and she just started implementing integration weeks, which is wildly uncomfortable for so many people because the worry is my business is going to fall apart. Can I really take a week off of calls every month? People aren't going to want to hire me because they want weekly sessions. There's like so much that comes up, right? And just because there's fear and it feels really weird doesn't mean that it's not the best decision for your business. It just takes time to work through the feelings that are coming up. So when you're thinking about, having these extended payment plans, again, like this is something to work through. And whether you work through that with me in the mastermind or in anti-hustle biz school while we still have the calls, or another coach, right? This is something, so this is like a business strategy that shouldn't necessarily be made like on a whim. There are lots of things to consider. And so, you want to make sure that you're getting paid, that it feels good. If you're offering extended payment plans and you're still not making the money that you want to be making every month, that's a problem. So maybe you don't offer extended payment plans until you've built your business up. This is the same thing with scholarships and sliding scale, right? We want to make sure that you are bringing in enough money every month that you want to be making that feels good. So you have a baseline, and then you can start adding on some of this extra stuff or having more accessibility in your business. So I want to throw this out there. let me know what you are. Thank you so much for sharing. Let me know what else you're hearing for yourself, what you see available for you. And um, if you have any questions about the mastermind, I'm doing 30-minute calls. If you have been on the fence, if you want to talk about it, if you want to know what I see available for you in your business, so we can have a conversation about your business, and then I can share with you how I think the mastermind could help to get you to where you want to be. Or if it's not a good fit, I'll tell you it's not a good fit. But as I said before, there's 2 different pods. So there's the 0 to 5K a month. If you're making that in your business, that's a different conversation than the expansion pod. The expansion pod is if you're making 5K to 15K in your business. And so that is again, now we're talking about scaling, CEO mindset, hiring team, adding on to your suite of services. So 2 different pods, 2 different levels, 2 different price points as well. So send me a message if you're on the fence or if you're thinking about it. We can book a call this week as well. I'm happy to chat with you just to see how this could help you and if you think it'd be a good fit. So have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be back here again next Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Italy time, European time zone, for the weekly training, anti-hustle business training. And then let me bring up, oh man, hold on. There's another window with way more. Nope. I'm doing a series this week, and let's see, what else do we have on deck? So I don't know. It's not in the place where I thought it was. Anyway, I will post the rest of the lives that I'll be doing this week, and I will see you next week. Bye.